Shanks is a character that is loved within the One Piece community because of how mysterious he is. He's well respected within the One Piece verse, and he has great influence on that verse as well. And doing all this with only such little screen time, I think in the anime version he has less than an hour of total dialogue, and I can't even tell you how many chapters he's in the manga. It's probably less than 15 of them. And Shanks has different ideals. I think the best one deals with the Mountain Bandit situation when he said, hey, you can spill booze on me, you can spit on me. And I would laugh it off, I really wouldn't care. But if you hurt the people that I care about, that's when you draw the line. Talking about going against pirates, talking about, being unfair. When they pulled out the gun, they're like, guns aren't for threatening people. And then when Lucky Rule pulled out one, he shot the Mountain Bandit. So I think Shanks has a lot of interesting ideals for us knowing little about him. There's also, to go with him being well respected, he has the scene where he stopped Marineford, and when he asked to retrieve Ace and Whitebeard's body, Sengoku obliged because he said, only because of you, red hair. He's also clashed with Mihawk, who's considered the strongest swordsman, so they're roughly equal in terms of strength, meaning that Shanks has great strength within the One Piece community. And like I said, going with his well respected and how much influential he is, meeting with the Gorosei, people who are above Akainu, the five elders, and work directly under Ima. I think that's very important. In 2020, Oda at Jump Festa left us with a message saying that the red-haired man will be making a move. And so since Shanks's epithet is Akamagami, I think that's how you pronounce it in Japanese, Akamagami no Shanks, and then or red-haired Shanks, we speculated that the red-haired man that Oda was talking about was Shanks. However, nothing really happened in 2020, or well, 2021, because that's the fall. Making the statement in 2020 was the end of 2020, and then the following year is when actually that was supposed to happen. We did get the whole who's who thing talking about Sun God Nika, and that Shanks was the one who stole the Gomu Gomu no Mi from the ship. However, that was all we got from Shanks in the manga, and then we got the movie trailer of Red. I think the teaser trailer, it just had a picture of Shanks showing up, so we speculate the movie was about him, and obviously it is because we've gotten more with Uta, and knowing that Shanks abandoned her, etc. So there's that. And so I speculated in the community, we thought that was Shanks making a move, and then afterwards we're like, well, maybe the red-haired person he was talking about, maybe Oda was trolling, because Oda does troll a lot. Maybe he was talking about Eustace Kid in the fact that Kid went against Shanks. Kid also had red hair, and I don't care what you guys say. You can call him Captain Mid, whatever. I call him Captain Kid because he went crazy in the manga. And so what he did against Big Mom and Kaido at Onigashima, maybe we thought that was the red-haired man that we talking about. However, when it comes to Oda, his time is never good, right? He always says like, oh, it's going to happen in this time frame. Oda's on that black people time. When he says something will happen, it'll happen a couple years later, a couple months down the line. So it just took longer expected, but Shanks finally made his move. And what I'm talking about is what happened during chapter 1054. So you guys have not read it, go read it and come back. Or if you guys are anime only, then unfortunately you guys won't be able to watch the rest of the video. But Shanks, he's on the seas of Wano, so he is near Wano, meaning that he is this close to meeting with Luffy. He's reminiscing about seeing Odin off and Hiyori and Momo because they rode with him on the Pirate King's crew. And so we're looking at the crew. They're like, yo, we're ready to see Luffy. Y'all stop talking about seeing Usopp. I don't remember his name, but somebody's talking about, yo, Captain Kidd was here, and he ended up challenging us as well. And then Shanks, he looks at Luffy's bounty poster, and he gets a flashback about them stealing the devil fruit. We see a young Who's Who, and Who's Who's like, whoa, well, why are they stealing the Gomu Gomu no Mi? But obviously it's maybe Shanks had some foresight. Maybe he knew that it was going to be something more important than what Who's knew, because we know now it's the Hito Hito no Mi Mado Nika. And then Shanks, he's thinking about Luffy, the different times that he spent with him in the village. And then there's also the scene when he ended up getting his arm snatched off by the Sea King, and he ended up like biting it and using hockey. Is such a dope scene. It's been reanimated so many times. And then something I want to give Luffy credit for is that Shanks has some cabin boys or some underlings, and I find it funny because Shanks has a higher bounty than Luffy. Shanks has been a yonko longer than Luffy, and so these people are talking. They're like, "Yo, Shanks knows the Monkey D. Luffy, the one that's a demon in like human form or a demon monkey along those lines." So the fact that Shanks' bounty is 1 billion higher than them, and they're still talking about Luffy like this, is actually insane. But Shanks is like, "I'm not gonna meet Luffy here. We got some stuff we got to deal with. That Bardo guy, he's the one who burnt down our flag, and he's supposed to be under Luffy, so we can't let that slide." And then he goes and sits down next to Ben Beckman, and he's like, "Yo, Ben, I think it's time." And Ben looks up, and then Shanks says, "It's time for us to go claim the One Piece." We're talking about Shanks, and I find it funny that, like, I didn't even choose this. I have red lights in the background. I just picked some random lights. But Shanks, he's a pirate, right? And a lot of people have been like, "Whoa, is Shanks turned evil? Is Shanks a bad guy? Shanks did a 180. What's going on with him?" And I've seen people compare him to Aizen from Bleach, who I think is the best shonen villain. And if you guys didn't know, the quick synopsis of Aizen's character, he was a captain in the I think it's Gorte or Gosei 13, and he would, captains are strong, so he was a good guy protecting the Soul Society, but then he faked his death, and he has his own goals. He's very strong, pure evil, and he has a god complex where when he turned into the villain Aizen, he was insanely smart, strong, and influential, and he went crazy, right? He was destroying other people, and Aizen's probably besides Yuha, Baha, Ichigo, and like maybe one or two other characters, Aizen's probably is still a top 5 strongest character in this series. So people are comparing, him doing a 180 and Shanks doing a 180 because we know such little about him. And for me, I think, like, when I was reading it, I was like, well, what the fluff is Shanks doing going after the One Piece? But I have to think about it. I'm not mad at it at all because, well, Shanks, I speculated that he wasn't going after it, number one, because of him being under Roger, and, that was his master or his pirate captain, that was his treasure. And so I was like, oh, Shanks just isn't going to go after it, or maybe because of Luffy he wasn't going after it. So I thought, but now that I'm thinking about it, we know little to nothing about Shanks. We just know he's very nonchalant unless you hurt his friends. But Shanks is still a pirate, so it's not shocking that he would want to claim one of the best treasure or the best treasure in this series. But I guess the question is, why did Shanks decide to wait this long? Because I'm thinking, like, Shanks, he doesn't have somebody like Nico Robin to read the poneglyphs, or he doesn't have a 3-eyed member of crew that we know of, like Pudding, who potentially can awaken their 3rd eye and read it. So was he waiting for Luffy to become Joy Boy? Or, like, did he think that was the final piece of the puzzle? Does he think Zanisha, the ancient weapons, like that has something to do with getting the One Piece? How much of this was forethought by Shanks and how much of this was planned? Do you want Luffy and his crew to get strong so he can have like a fair fight against them and steal Robin from it? It's just so many questions that I have of why Shanks wants to go after the One Piece. More likely than not, because there was a recent interview with Oda and the author of Detective Conan. And Oda, his time frames are a little off, but he says he wants to end One Piece in about 3 years. So more likely than not, that's more like 5 to 7 years. But we're in the end game, so we're going to be going against the Blackbeard pirates, the red hair pirates, and the Strauss are going to have to go against them. So I want to know who's going to fight who, right? And when we first thought about Shanks and Luffy meeting up, to be honest, I thought they would meet up at Elbaf. He would test Luffy's strength and the strength of his crew, and they would do this through a Davy back fight, where that way it's like not a fight to the death, but a fight to the death. And like I said, to measure their strength. But they also could have just a regular like pirate fight, kind of look like Roger and Whitebeard, how they would fight for a few days, or few clashes, and a few days afterwards they would be chummy and trading goods and treasure to each other. So maybe that's the relationship they'll have. And Shanks, we know that his crew is fairly strong because it has the highest average bounty balance, I believe. So I'm looking forward to not just seeing Shanks, but Ben Beckman as well, because this goes with Luffy and Zoro, and that means once they surpass Shanks and Ben Beckman, because they're roughly relative in strength, and Shanks especially because he's relative to Mihawk, because people consider Shanks to either be the strongest or second strongest Yonko with the best haki in the series. So once Luffy and Zoro, they have to surpass them, him, in order to be the pirate king and the world's strongest swordsman. So we're going to see their growth and progression after they finally clash. Then there's Blackbeard. We know that Blackbeard scarred Shanks. We know that Shanks went to go talk to the Gorosei about a certain pirate. We speculate that's Blackbeard. He was ready for the Smoking Marine Fort, and Shanks, he says that the scar that Blackbeard gave him is still throbbing. So Shanks and Blackbeard, no matter who wins out of the fight, no matter if it's Blackbeard or Shanks, they're destined to have to face each other. And especially if Shanks is going after the One Piece, maybe he's doing it in order to intercept Blackbeard before he goes after Luffy. Who knows? We just know that Shanks is a mysterious person, and I'm very happy he's finally having an important role in the story. Not saying that, you know, him motivating Luffy or stopping Marineford and stuff wasn't important, but the fact that the Straw Hats are now strong enough to take on a Yonko crew by themselves, I'm very happy that the next one we're going after is probably going to be Shanks. Can't wait for that Luffy meetup, and hopefully, me personally, I don't want Shanks to be evil. Like I said, I know he's a pirate, but like evil like on a level of like Blackbeard or Doflamingo or Crocodile, I wouldn't want. However, I do want him to stand as an antagonist against Luffy, so maybe some like a level of, I guess, an antagonist like Katakuri against Luffy. I want Shanks to be on that level. Obviously, I want him to be like a better character, but if you know what I mean, like just opposing Luffy and not like trying to overrule a country or, you know, kill people randomly, stuff like that. But let me know how you guys feel about Shanks going after the One Piece. Was it shocking to you? Did you guys expect it? How do you guys feel? Let me know in the comment section below. But thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Also hit the notification bell so you guys never miss out on a new video. We've been pumping out a lot of videos recently. I think in like the last 2 weeks I've done like 10 or 11 videos. So stay tuned for more. Thank you guys so much for watching, and don't forget to unleash your potential.